Welcome back to another podcast. Sat next to me, very special guest as always, Isaac John. Thank you for coming on the show. What is the message, my man?
Bro, thanks for having me on. Bumped into you for 5 minutes. Really enjoy your energy, bro. So I'm excited about this podcast. And bro, welcome to the Gold Coast.
Hey, bro, this place is my favourite place on earth. I'm not even joking. I came here 5.5 years ago on a weekend off when I was under 20s player at Canberra. Fell in love with it, and I've thought about. I'm not even joking yet. Every single day since then, I've thought about this place. I said, I fell in love up here, and then I'd never been to around Bondi, and that was my first time just a few days ago, and I started to like that, and I was like, oh, maybe the eastern suburbs are going to be more. And I got back up here, and I said, nah, this is the best place. This is the best place on earth, bro. I've been to enough of the world to see this is the best place on earth. I seen you this morning, bro, training as we were on our way in here to film one before training. Tell us about that, the whole 5 to 9 idea, bro. The morning before the start of the day, I suppose.
Yeah, 5 to 9 bro, we've had 3 cracks at activewear and nothing really quite hit. And probably the interaction, you'll be able to relate to this, because we use the 5 to 9 numbers as kind of, everyone's like, oh, there's almost a 247 like rip off to it. And like, I understand where that's coming from. But when you live in Australia and New Zealand, like the morning's the most magical part of the day. And when I lived in England, I actually hated England because like you can't live the mornings, the mornings are dark and it's dark when you get home from training. No shade on the UK. But when we had done activewear in the past, it always felt like a bit of a cash grab. Like we were just trying to maximize how much money we could pull away from our audience. YKTR at the time was killing it, and now it's just our basic streetwear, and we're like, let's just do activewear, everyone's going to follow it anyway. And it never really had a really cool message behind it. It felt pretty boring, it felt like a cash grab, and it was a cash grab because we knew that we had a big following and people would just buy it because we were wearing it. And then we'd done a few different versions of it, and I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, how do I like to live? And I started looking around. I'm up 4:30 most mornings training. The sun gets up here pretty early, and you can't replicate what we have down here in Australia and New Zealand with that beautiful part of the morning. It's the best part of the day.
Literally.
And all I wanted to do with the 5 to 9, and we've been lucky, we've been selling out recently, which has been sick, is just own that part of the morning. And is that saying own the morning, win the day?
Yeah.
It's just our version of that. After that, you can wear whatever you want. That's all cool. But during that time, we want to be the brand that supports you during that little slog in the morning. And we don't want to be a brand that's for the elite. Like, I look at 247 and they're big inspo on everything they do. The Jakey Deadens, the William Googe, like all those guys, when they do those runs across Iceland and shit. To me, that's like cool as fuck. But I think they cater towards the obsessed.
Yeah.
And they cater to like 247 all the time, Yeah. That basically means you're on all the time. We want to cater towards just the guy who's got work at 9. He has to go pick up a shovel. He has to go provide for his kids, Just that little time in the morning where we can spend time with yourself, working on yourself before you get into your day. Those are the guys we want to cater to. The guys that probably going to have a beer on Friday and Saturday and fucking party and bender, but they'll go for a run the next day to wash all that anxiety away, and that's a reflection of the country that we're in.
For sure.
So mornings are the best part of the day in this part of the world, and it makes it magical. And when you go to big cities around the world, Hong Kong, New York, they're not about mornings, they're more like nighttime. So you kind of have to shift how you live. But I think it's just a cool spot to be in. And we just want to be a brand that supports the morning like motion.
Yeah, I love that. And I've seen it obviously firsthand being here. My first night, I landed in Sydney Tuesday night. And like when you're a kid at Christmas, bro, I couldn't sleep. I was so excited, bro. My alarm was set for 5 a.m. because I was staying on Coogee Beach. And I kept waking up every hour. I was so excited to get up, watch the sunrise, get a coffee, go for a run, ran Coogee to Bondi. Bro, it sounds
That's a big run, bro. That's a big run.
Bro, oh my God. It was more stairs than running and dodging tourists, bro. My lungs were gone. But honest to God, yeah, I was so buzzing. Like, bro, 25 years of age and I'm waking up like Christmas Day. But because if I looked at that day and that was my dream day. I got up I woke up at 4 or 5 a.m. I woke up at like 4:30. 4:45 because I was so excited. I got up, I got a coffee and watched the sunrise. I went for a swim. I went for a run. I had another 10 coffees. I had brekkie. I filmed the podcast. I went to the gym. That's the best day on earth for me. That's the best day on earth. But like, that was my dream day and I was so excited to get up and do that. And you can see it. It's so strong in the culture. Everyone's up and at it, getting after it. And like you said in the UK, you spent a bit of time at Wakefield. Bro, there's none of that. And part of it is the weather and part of it is literally the culture. It comes together because like when the weather's crap, it's hard to get up early.
It's hard, bro.
It's hard when the sun's rising late. It's not as easy to get up in the morning. But also when you're the only person doing it, it's even harder, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so like when you're cultivating that sort of thing where you're bringing people together, whether it's the people who are there training hard for high rocks or whatever it may be, or it's just the people who are getting for a run before they get on the tools all day. When you pair that together and everyone's doing it, you see it in the morning. There's an energy about it, isn't there? There's like a bit of a buzz when you're witnessing it firsthand. You're going, how are so many people bleeding up and at it?
Yeah, and a big part of that is environment, like you just talked about. Like I ran a half marathon with my friends back home, and it was the first time they've run a half marathon, and like I was back in my hometown in New Zealand for like a week before it, and I was doing like shakeout runs and stuff, but like it was just so cold. I remember just lying in bed and I was like, I could see how people don't get up and train, and if you're not around the right people, like it just makes it a lot harder. When you wake up here on the Gold Coast, like the sun's up early, everyone's moving early, like our coffee's good, the weather's good, like everyone's good looking, you know, the water's nice. So it's just the best way to start the morning. Wake up, move, swim, coffee, bro, and you're just buzzing, bro. It's the best.
It's the energy, isn't it? What's that like when you go back home? Because I know when I go back home to Balbriggan, like, and I always speak about this because I'm really passionate about where I'm from in Dublin and Ireland, in small coastal town Balbriggan. I love where I'm from, but I'm very outspoken about the fact that I needed to leave my hometown to get away from just that small town mentality. What's that like for you when you get home and you're thinking about lying in bed compared to when you're here? Bro, and it's on the buzz, isn't it?
Yeah, like I come from a really small town of like 8,000. I love going back because like nothing changes. Yeah. And like when you're in a small town and nothing changes, it can feel restricting. But when you move away from your hometown and nothing changes, you go back and like, oh, this is like so nice. And like as you like, I've openly spoke about this, is like I had to get out of that environment as well because I've always been ambitious, always wanted to travel, and I've been able to live a life that I've been able to create. But yeah, just like it's hard because you never want to like speak bad about your hometown.
Yeah.
But like moving away from your hometown is what I think was one of the best things you can do.
Sorry to interrupt the podcast. Just a quick one from me. I have put together a 6-week off-season program that I will be following myself for all athletes listening. If you're interested, have a look at the link in the description. Anyways, back to the show.
Yeah, for sure. I think you need to get out of that hometown environment to go and see what you're about. Do you know what I mean? And I left early. Like I left it just before my 18th at 17 years old, and that's been the makings of me getting to go see the world, getting out from the mother's roof. And when I go back, like it's like a warm blanket, isn't it? You go home, everyone's there, and not a hell of a lot has changed, but it's better to be a small fish in a big pond, isn't it, than a big fish in a small pond. And that was the thing for me. Like I was training with my local rugby union team's men's team at 15 years old. Like I was like, there's a roof here, and I wanted to shatter through that roof, and that's what I'm trying to still do now. You mentioned the idea of being a creative. Obviously, that's sort of what you do and the person that you've become. Was that always something that you felt? Obviously, because you know it's like when you're playing professional rugby league. When you become a bit outspoken, you get a new haircut, you get a new pair of trainers. Like the boys are on you straight away. How was it when you were riding that sort of wave and you were transitioning from being a footballer to being a creative and someone who puts yourself out there in the world? Because that's a tough transition.
I feel like I've always been comfortable in my own skin. Even from a very young age, I was happy to almost go against the grain, and whatever I liked, I was into, and I wasn't afraid to hide it. And like, I think I would have thrived better in today's generation with football because there's so much more opportunities creatively. So like as a brand, we were like first guys to start clothing and first guys to start vlogging. And like when I was into that stuff, I was into like reading books. I used to always carry a camera around me and take photos and do videos and stuff like that. And the boys will pay you out, but like when they're paying you out, it's not like a malicious thing, and a lot of people take that thing personally. It's just banter.
Yeah.
You know? It's just like, oh, you think you're mad at the camera. And as soon as you take a good photo of the boys, they all DM you like, hey bro, can you send me that photo? You know? So, and I feel like I've always been quite quick-witted with banter anyway, so I could always cop it and always give it back. So if anyone was attacking me, I'll just go straight back at them.
Yeah.
So I had a upbringing where I was comfortable being myself. I was always keen to just do different things. Like I hated getting pigeonholed just as a footballer. Yeah. Even when we used to go out and I was single, like I'd never tell anyone I was a footballer. I'd just make shit up. You know?
I'm guilty of that. I love that one. No digital marketer.
And like, just I got to a point where like I was more so inspired by people within business and the lives that they could live. So Nate Miles was a big influence on me, and I was only with him for a year. So we were both at Manly, and me and him used to go for coffees all the time, and we're still tight now. And he said, like, he had a few F45s at the time, had a bunch of houses, and I used to always just ask him like business questions. And then he was friends with a lot of successful business people, and he'd bring up the guys from Zane Road, which was a big brand in Australia at the time, and they're still decent now, but he'll bring them up like, hey bro, what are you up to? He goes, bro, I'm just in LA, I'm about to go to these mountains and go for a run and like hike, but I've got a few meetings up here, I'll give you a call when I'm back. And I remember just like hearing those types of calls, and I'm driving the training, going to a sport that I don't necessarily love, and I'm hearing guys over in LA and they're having meetings with certain people and like meeting YG and stuff like that, you know, and I'm just sitting in the car, I'm like, it was such a big influence on what I wanted to do. And he was one of the guys that go, bro, you've got something there with the YKTR, like you're a smart dude, just go all in, bro. Like you could tell I wasn't into football, and like it was obvious. He goes, just go all in, bro, you can just back yourself. And we done that, and I done that, and like literally in about a year and a half, 2 years, like I was like flying to LA, and I was meeting guys like Daniel Patrick, who was really big Aussie designer. I was just walking around LA with Nate, who just moved there at the time, and he was introducing me to all these people, and like our clothes were trash at the time, like and I always felt imposter syndrome walking into these spaces, but they understood that a new guy trying to come through within the fashion space was pretty like. They just wanted to help me out. Yeah. So I was grateful to go in there, and like the first time I walked into Kith, and the first time ALD wasn't around at the time, like Kith was always our main reference, but just to be around there and be like, walk into Supreme, touch a Supreme t-shirt and go, oh fuck, we've got the same material, you know?
Yeah.
Hang around Fairfax, go through round 2, like Sean Witherspoon's fucking stores. It was just cool to tap into American culture very early so I could learn the game, and then I'll just go, got nothing to do, I'm just going to go New York, and the boys are back here playing football and everyone sees NRL as the dream, but I was like going like LA, New York, fucking Hong Kong, China, and I was living the life that I wanted to live, and we were just creating clothes at the time. It was cool, and I was just documenting it.
You're just taking it all in. I think I kind of relate to what you're saying in that sense, and because of my background in rugby union, and then I transitioned to rugby league. During that transition, I had to take a year out of rugby union. And at the time, 10 odd years ago, no players were documenting their lives. Do you know what I'm saying? You were a really, really early starter in terms of like vlogging and that. Like I wouldn't have known you because I didn't know anything about rugby league until a little bit later. But the two references that were my strongest influence at the time were Rob Lipsett and Mike Thurston, which are gym vloggers. Yeah. They go to the gym and share their lifestyle. So My biggest thing for me when I was back home in Balbriggan is I want to be around like-minded people who train hard, and rugby league was that avenue. I knew if I got myself in a good environment around like-minded people who train hard, that was what was going to direct me. But my only other reference to that were fitness vloggers who do exactly what you're talking about. Travel the world, create content, train, like have their own personal brand. And I think that's what resonated with me the most, and that's what sort of led me into this direction of things that I'm doing now alongside rugby league as a player, is because I was so into vlogging, and I was so into watching other people just walk around big cities and do that stuff. And that's why like I can relate so much to what you're saying in terms of the sense that like when you get to these places and you're like, I'm here, this is me, this is what I do. It's inspiring, isn't it? It's crazy when you're taking it in, and you sort of step back and you say, oh, my clothes were trash at the time when you started doing that. But if you're not looking at yourself years in the future and going, I was trash then, I wasn't good at what I was doing then, you're not making progress, are you? No. I look at the stuff that I made, the reels that I made, the stuff I was doing as an online coach and like vlogging my life, and I go, oh my God. I can't have been putting that on the internet, like, but that's the references that I love. Like I started this podcast a year ago, and I was literally just saying to Crispy out there, I was saying, there's a few episodes that I'd love to delete, like I'd love to just wipe them off, but that's the stepping stone that got you to where you were.
Oh, for sure.
And if you're not looking at yourself, if I don't look at myself, and I'm sure you're the same, in 10 years' time and go, that podcast we did was shit. You've not made improvements as yourself as a person, as a player, as an individual. You've not progressed, have you?
No, and it's the same within business. If you're not embarrassed by your first product, you've waited too long.
Yeah.
And like you just like one of my friends, we've just started a podcast recently. It's called Be Nice, and like I think he's really talented in the he's going to be good in the podcast space in about 6 months.
Yeah.
But even just like you can see the anxiety with them build up very early, and with people with anxiety, they drag it out for so much longer because they're overthinking. And the thing with anxiety is the more you think about it, the more the bigger anxiety gets.
Yeah.
So if you can shorten that distance from what you think is a good idea to actually doing it, and then you think 6 months from now and you're a year in now, you know, it's just shortens like the process. And to me, it seems so simple. But I'm like I said before, I've always been confident in myself and just to try things. And I think I've failed so frequently and often that like you understand that failure is just a part of that journey, and like cringe episodes and bad episodes. And when you first start podcasting, there's 1,000 ums in there, you know. At the time, you just got to take it for what it is. And I think if you're transparent, honest, and vulnerable within content, people will stick by you during that little growth phase, because they like to see someone starting out. They like to see them grow. But the scary part is when you start to become successful, and this happened to me where everything I touched was turned into gold for like a year and a half. I was making so much money and everything. Like I was starting new businesses, they were all flying. At the time, I could mention I was into sports cards for a while. One time I gave a shout out to a sports card company and they made $30,000 overnight just for a shout out, you know. Then that was the amount of leverage I had. I wasn't the biggest personal brand, but I think because I communicated in such a way that wasn't common at the time, like just being honest, hey, we fucked up, this is what happened, big sales day. It sort of led me to a point of success where like ego starts to come in, you know. And then I thought I had the magic touch with everything. And then like what's happening kind of in NRL right now, like what's happening in rugby union a few years ago, when you're at the top, it's the easiest time to get clipped at the knees. Someone can sneak in from the side because you think the world revolves around you. And that's what happened to me as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I think sometimes you have to take it down a peg or two, don't you?
Have to, bro.
You have to take it down a peg or two to realise that I'm not all that I think I am. One of our first ever interactions, you said to me, just start. That's what you said. That was the message. Just start, full stop. And it's so easy when you're at that point, that inflection point, to get that overthinking element, don't you? That anxiety that comes over you. What if? What if it doesn't go all right? You know what? I was in France. We played Toulouse away. I always tell people this story. We played Toulouse away, yeah. And I had one of these big cameras, and I was vlogging my whole trip. And we get off the little rental bikes that you get in France, and we jump into the cafe, and I leave it on the front of the bike. And that was the camera, £1,000 worth of camera at the time, fair bit of money. That was the camera that I was starting my podcast with the next week or whatever. I had all the mics and that at home. Lost the camera, and I was like, nah, I'm not starting it. And my mate said to me, bro, you're gonna just have to bite the bullet and get a new camera. But that was my way out. Oh, yeah. God made me lose the camera on the front of the bike, so I'm not gonna start it. But again, you just have to take that first step. You just need to be vulnerable and be willing to go, I may not be the best at this yet, but if you add that yet at the end, there's the potential for growth. If you go, I'm not good at that, full stop, you're capping yourself. You're capping yourself, aren't you? You speak about the NRL and that getting chopped at the knees. Obviously, there's a lot of moving parts, and you've been pretty outspoken about this R360 and things like that. There's moving parts right now, and it's exciting over here. I feel the excitement with the NRL. That's probably had one of the biggest years ever. Huge year. Yeah. But there's also obviously there's that little ghost that's in behind the potential players getting pinched, and all that comes with that growth is there's always another moving part. There's always someone who wants a piece of your cake. How do you think that unfolds?
I think it's pretty exciting, and there's probably NRL's got to a point where over here they're really big, but realistically we're only really big in Sydney and up in Queensland, where NRL players can walk down to Melbourne and a lot of people won't know who they are. Like Melbourne Storm is one of the most successful sports teams probably in history across most sports in the time frame that they've been in. But a guy like Cameron Munster, who up here is a fucking lord, can walk around Melbourne and not get noticed. You know, and that's really cool. I remember one time we were in Bali and we probably had at the time a few of the highest paid NRL players, and we were hanging around people from Perth and they just didn't know who they were. So, you know, so like we're a big sport, but in the context of the world, we're not that big. Yeah. And this R360 thing is, I never really paid much attention to it. I've kind of just been trying to distance myself from sports and football. I was in that space for a long time. But once V'landys put out that 10-year ban, I'm like, it really caught my attention. Like, I'm just like, wait, what? Like, what? And I was like, what's he worried about? So I just started doing heaps of research, and I think the way that I like to articulate things within sport has come from different angles. So I'll look at it from the game itself, the sporting angle. I'll look at it from a marketing standpoint and content. That's probably my favorite place to look at it. I'll look at it from a personal branding standpoint as well. I'll look at it for, all right, where's the money coming from? If it's coming from Saudi, what are the other Saudi-backed leagues that are happening in the world right now? I was doing some work with Jai Alpatai for a bit, and he was sponsored by Riyadh season, which is a really big, I don't even know what that was, but it's a time within the Middle East where a lot of cool events start to happen. So it's going to be the hub of the world soon, based around sports, entertainment. Like I think Dave Chappelle and stuff head over there and do their, the big boxing events are there. So you look at it from a sponsorship standpoint where it's got Saudi money where like it's endless. It's like Nick Politis, who's the Roosters. He's a billionaire. His money wouldn't even stack up next to someone like that. It's still respectable fucking having a B next to your name. And then I look at it from a marketing standpoint. Rugby unions missed that opportunity to market because they're too old school, bro. There's too many old heads and it's a white collar sport. So when social media comes around, they ignore it. They're like, this is what's worked for us over the past 100 years. It's not going to work for us. We just keep going this way. Boom, rugby starts to die. I look at it from an individual, like even numbers, bro. So I was looking at Rugby League. Participation is about 900,000 worldwide. Rugby Union, 5 million.
Crazy.
Yeah. So if you're a business guy and you're looking, hey, can we take over Rugby League? Oh, it's not played in most of the world, but we're going to have to grow our participation by 4 million people. Too long.
Yeah.
There's already 5 million people playing in rugby, and rugby's revenue's going down. As a business owner, it's like looking at a struggling business and going, fuck, there's an opportunity here. It's a global game. They've probably missed the social media marketing train. We can grow from there. So when I started looking at all these different things, bro, I was just like, fuck, how much money does NRL make in a year? So I think they made about 725 million. And the players' salaries combined, like salary cap times 17, ends up being like 225 million. So I was like, there's 500 million there going somewhere.
Yeah.
So say that gets operated and you're building out all the events and stuff like that. I'm like, I think they turned over, their net profit was like 56 mil. So there's still 56 mil coming through. So and Peter V'landys, I think he's a gun. Like people are in my inbox at the moment go, oh, V'landys going to be scared. V'landys ain't scared of me. Like he's a fucking gangster. I think he's a really good business guy. But like when he said that, I just started looking at all these different pieces, and I think I can articulate myself in a really simple format where I can explain things to fans. Because my biggest thing is, I think media always tries to create divide between fans and players, and that's why I started YKTR Sports, because I thought that we could change the media narrative, which we did. I didn't get the upside of it. I took a big downside of it. But over time, it did change, And I think this is what's happening now. It's just more so pattern recognition than anything. So I can speak about R360 from so many different angles, but I'm just kind of picking the financial ones at the moment because it's easy to articulate.
Yeah, and easy for fans to understand. I think two of the key points that you've sort of mentioned there in particular is, in terms of rugby, they've missed the kick. Rugby union, they've missed the kick with the social media thing. Like you said, it's a different. It's ancient, isn't it? It's ancient. And the other thing is that personal brand aspect for players. What blew my mind is, I can't remember which player. It was an Irish rugby union player, and he said they're on 48-hour social media ban from posting either side of a game. So like 24 hours or 48, I can't remember the figure, I could get that wrong. 24 either side of a game, say, of kickoff, they can't post on their story. They can't post there at a cafe with the boys. And I was like, that's bizarre. That got my brain thinking. I was like, why have the IRFU imposed that on players? Because you're not letting the fans into their world then, are you, of what they get up to before a game, whether they're at an ice bath, whether they're at a recovery centre, whatever that may be. The other thing you always speak about is creating personal brands for players so that the player is an individual. It's not just whoever who plays for Brisbane Broncos. It's that person as an individual, and then they have their little piece of the cake when they finish up their career, like yourself. They have their little piece of the cake. But how does R360 allow for rugby union players to do both of those things and sort of step out of the mould at the minute that rugby union is sort of trapped in on that downtrend without the social media engagement? Because that's the modern world. You have to move with the times.
The players got their own rights to everything that they do.
Yeah.
So there's multiple angles you can go from this. So let's just say R360, like we're just going to purely focus on YouTube as being our main media platform that we're going to focus on. Who's the biggest people in the world right now? They're all streamers.
Yeah.
So an example of this is, say Artie signs for our R360 club, probably one of the coolest players in the world, down to earth, humble, best player on pitch.
Yeah,
you know,
freak on pitch as
freak
well.
on pitch. But imagine like, all right, cool. Let's just put one and one together. Streaming is the biggest thing in the world right now. Artie Salvia, one of the biggest athletes in the world right now. Let's stream him from when he jumps on the bus till he jumps in the shower. So instead of us just watching the game and going, oh, look at Artie doing that. Imagine if he gets on the bus, there's someone following him around the whole time. He's mic'd up the whole time. He starts to jump in the sheds. He's putting on his boots. He's religious. He'll write down his prayer, you know. He's in the huddle. He's talking. Like, if that follows him, that turns into a 4-hour, 5-hour stream. And you're not just looking at little highlights of him on the game, because that small snippet part of social media is still relevant, but it doesn't create any depth. That's why Speed is the guy right now, because he's streaming every single day. That's why Aiden Ross is the guy right now, because they're streaming every single day. So people want to almost see that Truman Show version of sports or anything. You can be anyone, and any streamer can make it if they show up consistently. Marlon, killing it right now. Cool dude. And what they actually do from that is, if Artie ends up being a 5-hour stream from start to finish, what he can do is just hire people just to clip farm all his content. So instead of him making content and stuff all the time, there's a 5-hour stream. Hey, here's $5,000. Let's clip farm as much pieces of content as you can. And it almost becomes that Andrew Tate effect and he started the clip farming where he wasn't allowed on social media. So he got everyone to clip all the content he used to do, and they build their brand up from there. So no one's thinking about streaming a full-time game right now. They might clip them up and then do that little small stuff. But even me just saying this right now is like, no one's really even thought of it.
Yeah,
you know,
100%. But I don't think people understand it. And I don't think I genuinely don't believe players are educated in that way that they can leverage themselves. You're speaking about it. You speak about it often. I've done a lot of research myself in terms of that leverage, like, and how I use my podcast, my YouTube channel, my social media, and my back end funnel is sort of like my online coaching stuff and my offer through that. But I've learned about that myself. And I would consider myself a very low profile rugby league player in terms of that. But I think I use my brand and my ability to speak with people and create content as my leverage for other things. Because as a rugby league player, that's not where I make a hell of a lot of my income. But I don't think players are educated in how they can leverage their brand. And I actually think it suits the organizations for them not to be, because then they get more of the cake. Because I think it suits Super League and it suits NRL for them not to be putting themselves out there so much, because then all of a sudden they're shining a light on what goes on in their life, but then they become more interesting than the parts of the game. Because who wants to watch the highly edited clips of Canberra Raiders or Sydney Roosters at training that are pitch perfect with the best, like, or who wants to actually watch a player bring you into their life, into their world, and say, this is how I get my ankle strapped, or this is actually what my morning looks like. This is me driving to training on the worst day. That's more, for me, that's far more interesting than, the mad edit, and it has the perfect sound and the perfect transition, like, and it's a 30-second clip of them training and it's pitch perfect.
And that's like, I'm starting to talk about these things now, and I've just got a bit of pattern recognition from my life. And like, whenever I talked about vlogging back in the day, or podcasting, or sports media, I always had this feeling in my gut that I'm right. Then I start talking about it after that. And usually I can tell if I'm on the right track if I meet resistance and friction early. So like, I start talking about stuff and they're like, no, it's not going to work. And for me, for pattern recognition in life, I'm like, oh, cool. I've seen this before. I feel like I'm going to be right. And like, in the past, I didn't really know how to do it properly or like monetize it. I was just there to help people. But now I've got experience through business and failure, and how to articulate it. Like, I used to give everything away for free all the time, but now I give 80% of away for free, and I'm just going to keep some stuff over here that I think could really work, that potentially could link me up with, like, I could become like an R360 manager. Who knows?
You never know, do you?
Yeah, you never know.
You never know. And I know you said, like, when you're going through this transition into the person that you are now, and you're at Manly and you're being mentored, you felt like you fell out of love for the game. But do you feel like the discipline and the consistency that professional sport teaches you, do you think that's transitioned straight into your business life? That constantly knocking on the door and grinding and failing and grinding and failing. That's nearly like a straight transition, isn't it?
Yeah. It probably took me a while to figure out, because once I left sports, like, I didn't do anything, bro. I didn't train, I didn't run. Like, I didn't even touch a weight. I wouldn't even walk into a gym for like 5-6 years, But I think the big lesson that I learned from that for me that carries over from sports to business is having a holistic approach to life. Like if you're in football and all you focus is on football, I always found my football went backwards, you know? And same with business, where when I only purely focused on business and I'd work 12, 14-hour days, I was in the office first, last to leave, all that sort of shit. Things within business will start to go really well, but there's always a consequence in other places. Friendships will start to die down. Every relationship I was in failed, you know? Like there was times where like my good mates would have babies. I wouldn't even know my babies, their names. I'm like, fuck. I'll be sitting there looking at the baby and I'm like, I've forgotten the baby's name, you know? So there were sort of little moments in life where I realized I lost touch with what actually matters in life. And to me, what matters in life is experiences with people. And I was missing that. I was doing well within business and my bank account was stacking up, but I was like in Paris and fucking south of France and I could not stop thinking about business. I'm literally looking at the Eiffel Tower. Fuck, I just need to like go do something, you know?
Yeah.
And I've seen it enough where I've hung around some really successful people and I've looked up to them when I've read their resume or looked at their LinkedIn. I'm like, fuck, this guy's cool. And I hang around them and they're hating on other people. I'm like, bro, you've literally got millions of dollars in your bank account. Like, how can you just hate on someone for like trying something that you're not even doing? So, and I was like, I'll meet other guys that are successful and like their family life might be a little bit of a mess, but they're doing the other things, you know? I'm like, you know, for me, I was like, hang around these people, but things weren't connecting for me on how I anticipated happiness to be. So not long after that, bro, a lot of things fell apart within my life, but they needed to because I was asking for different things, you know. If you believe in God or I believe in the universe, I think inherently we both believe in something similar. Like we believe in a higher power, and if we move in certain ways, like if you pray for things or manifest things, it just doesn't give it to you straight away. It gives you an opportunity to learn the skills that you need to be that person.
Yeah.
I said, so the things I was asking for were different. And then literally, bro, a week later, whole world fell apart underneath me. And it took me a while to take on the lessons because the whole time I was just like, nah, it's his fault. It's like,
You're blaming people. You're blaming people. And that's what they say.
And I was the worst, bro. I was like, fuck, it was this cunt's fault.
It's easy to point fingers. It is, though. It's natural, though. It's natural. It's a work on yourself, isn't it, to stop pointing fingers. And, you know, they say, well, God gave David Goliath. He didn't give him the easy road. You know what I mean? The choppiest seas are for the toughest sailors and all of that. But all that cliche stuff, you need to go through that bit of adversity, don't you? And conquer that to find who you are. And sometimes things do need to blow up in your face. I think that's so refreshing to hear because it's stuff that I go through all the time. Like I've had like friendships, relationships. You're too all in. And sometimes you do need to hear that, and sometimes they're just not the right people for you. So you have to strike that balance too and filter that. Some people just want you to get on the piss all the time, and if you don't want to do that, you don't align with them, and they don't align with you, and that's fine. But then you have to actually sometimes go, are they right? Am I actually just working too hard and not being present in the moment? Am I not able to switch off? Or genuinely, is this just a reflection of the person who's critiquing me? And you have to learn how to filter that as well. Because I've had some people say, you're addicted to social media. All you want to do is create content. And I got my back up about that. I was like, am I looking at a beautiful sunset in somewhere beautiful in the world, and I want to create a bit of content about it? And is that a reflection on me as a person? Am I a bad person for wanting to do that? Or are you just not aligned with me in that sense? And I've had to go through that sort of riding that and finding people who I enjoy sharing moments with, and who also accept me for who I am, who accept me that I love this shit. I love vlogging. I love doing what I do, and I'm not gonna change that because that doesn't align with who you are. So it's finding that filtration, doesn't it? That system to go, you want to get on the piss all the time. I'm not a bad person because I don't want to do that, because I want to train and I want to be in good shape and I want to eat clean. But then also some people might go, you're too all in, you're too full on. And sometimes you have to be able to take that with pictures. I'll go, yeah, maybe I am at the moment. And I do feel like as well, in the transition, in the business space that you're in, at some stage you do need to fuck up and go all in and be that wrong person and be in the wrong. Like you said, do the 14-hour days in the office, have no work-life balance, to realise that this doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know, and then to become, the equilibrium shifts back to the middle then, when you have that reflective moment. But you have to be either side of it to get back to the middle.
Oh, that makes sense. For sure. And even you arcing up about certain things, and that, bro, I I used to waste hours arguing with people on the internet, you know, because I believed what I believed, but I could never accept what they believed because it wasn't true for me. Yeah. But if I'm defending it, it must be true, or there's like every joke has an element of truth to it. So if you're offended by the joke and you don't have the self-awareness to accept it.
Yeah.
So like if someone goes, bro, you're all in now, I just go, bro, thanks. Like, imagine if you just go, bro, thanks for recognizing that.
Yeah,
and it puts them back on their like heels a bit, you know. Yeah. And everyone, you're spot on, bro, and figuring out who's projecting from their own insecurities.
Yeah.
You know, like if you go too hard, like you're too obsessed. If you don't, you're lazy, you know. And I feel like those things justify how they feel, and that makes them feel better. And once you understand that, they're like, oh, he's only saying that because they're breaking move through life so much easier. It was like a couple of days ago, I read a post, and it was a financial conversation about rugby league. Someone's like, all you do is like talk about money. I was like, why don't you read a book about spirituality and stuff? But I've read heaps of books about spirituality. Yeah. But I think those are the lowest IQ arguments, where it's easy to argue the opposite without thinking about why they're doing that. So an example of this is like, I love apples. Someone's going to come along and go, well, you must hate oranges then. You know, and I used to entertain those conversations because I used to try and defend like the apple, but you just end up wasting time. It's a really low IQ argument. Big one that happens within football is like they should be grateful for what they have because they're earning more than what I am. Like I work hard every single day and they're getting paid that just to play football. And then you could slide that conversation down this way and go, well, have you ever complained about your job? Most people are going to say yes, you know. Then I'm like, wait, what are you complaining about your job for? There's a guy that's homeless. Yeah. He would love to be in a position. Yeah. And it's the same argument. It's just slid down the financial scale a bit. Yeah. You know, and then the next conversation, he's homeless. There's kids in Africa. One's got one leg, you know?
Yeah.
And I think the thing about social media is it's giving everyone a voice, which is a good and bad thing. Like the pros and cons of it. But I can recognize when it's a conversation that I want to entertain and one I don't anymore, where I used to just like my back used to arc up every conversation. I'd be like DMs like and I can see where people are coming from now, and their truth might not be true for me, but it is true for them.
Yeah.
Know? And I always use this analogy, and I've been saying it for like 8 years now, where if you look up at the sun and I look up at the sun, like some people might see it as summer, a good time, beach. Other people might look up the sun and see it as a reason for cancer, a reason for drought, a reason for bushfires. You know, even though we're looking up and we see the same sun, we're like, you know, everyone's perception of the sun is very different.
Yeah.
We might sit in this room, your perception of this room is like, oh, this is an amazing studio. My one's like, oh, I've been here 3-4 times before. Yeah, remember that bowl used to be full of chocolate. You know, so like, and then if we get to a point where we can understand everyone else has an opinion on something, you can waste time not arguing with people on the internet.
Yeah, which is key, isn't it? It's key. Bro. It's absolutely key, bro. You can't be wasting your time doing that. I think what I love and the frame of mind that I engage in the most is, with the tools I had or that person had at the time, they made the best decision, or they're sharing their best perspective at the time. You're both looking up at the sun, one person's cursing it, the next person's grateful for it. There's always going to be someone better off, and there's always going to be someone worse off. And you can't spend your time concerned with that. Yeah. I don't think. I think, and like you go back to they should be grateful. Well, everyone should be grateful for something, and everyone has something to complain about. Do you know what I mean? You can always find something to complain about. You can always find something to be grateful for. And you know what? Hard work is still hard, whether you're on the tools or whether you're being a professional rugby league player. It's still fucking hard. It doesn't get easier. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't get easier just because you get to do what you love. It's still hard. You love what you do within your business, yeah? Does that mean you don't work hard just because you love it? No. Yeah. You still work hard. It's still tough to do. You still have to show up every single day and bring your best self, or whatever your best self is. Whether it's a 4 out of 10 day, you still have to bring all 4 of those pieces into the puzzle and give your best self for that day. So it doesn't matter what. It's all perception of hard. Hard is still a thing, whether you look at their life and go, their life's way better than yours, or you go, their life is way worse than mine. You're still perceiving it as hard every single day. You still have to get up and show up for yourself, or you just stagnate, and then someone else overtakes you.
And do you know what the big thing is? It's easy to complain about others because it distracts us from looking at ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people on the internet like, why don't you do this in that way? But if we turn that camera around back on ourselves, instead of complaining about everyone else, if we ask the question, how can I improve myself? Yeah. Very few people are scared to ask that question. You're looking in the mirror, bro. Yeah, 100%.
It's a scary place to be, looking in the mirror, isn't it?
And it's like gossips are like, everyone loves gossip, and this is why reality TV kills it, why there's always been magazines around. Gossip allows you to morally feel better about yourself because someone else is fucked up. Like their relationship's broken down. My relationship's sweet, so that makes me feel better. Let me spread this gossip, so therefore I can justify my relationship and we feel good. Or he got caught cheating. I'm still in a happy relationship,
Yeah.
And morally you make yourself feel better by spreading gossip. So I try not to.
Yeah, 100%. And it's that awareness piece, becoming self-aware that's something that I've sort of had to work on myself. And I had to, one, be vulnerable, and I had to, two, take a bit of rain check, sweep the floor with myself, my ego, and go, you're not the person who you think you are yet, and you have to have those hard, long looks in the mirror, and you have to do them often. Because all of a sudden, it's look, don't stare, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look, don't stare. Look at the past, reflect on the past, look ahead at the future, but don't stare either way. You have to be in that present moment and sort of keep trying to better yourself. Don't pat yourself on the back for the past achievements. Because if you spend your time now going, my business is doing great, my life's fantastic, I'm going to pat myself back. Let me tell you quickly, like you said, the bank account starts going that way. If you look too ahead of the future, you don't worry about what's being controlled right now. All you're doing is chasing, and you forget to be in Paris staring at the Eiffel Tower, looking, taking it all in, soaking it all up, and being grateful for that exact moment. I think that's been something that, as I've got a bit older, and I'm still learning now, and that's why I love having these conversations and love having people on, is I learn from this shit every single day, and I'm on that mission to sort of try and become a better version of me, which is exciting, really, isn't it? It's something special being on that. I'm not the full package yet, and that's okay.
It's the best, and you never will be. That's the constant quest of life. You'll get to a point where you might marry and be kids. Like your shift from everything's about content and business might be like, how can I become the best dad ever?
Yeah.
So it's constantly growing, and to think you're at the final point is never going to be true. But when I was younger, I'm like, fuck, I'm going this way, and this is the only way I'm going. I had no other vision for it, and I got great success from it. But if I climb the mountain in that certain way, there's always a byproduct, or there's always going to be a consequence for that, And one thing that I learned about myself is understanding what my ego is attached to. And this was a big unlock for me. And I only figured it out maybe last year or two. But for me, ego is attached to success and IQ. So an example of this is ego is how you want the world to see you, not who your true version of yourself is. At my core essence, I really love helping people. I love making content. They can break things down very simply, so just the normal bloke can understand. That's where I get my biggest kick out of, where my ego is validated by you've had such great success within business, or people used to go to me in entrepreneurship, oh, you're so smart, you said this. So when my ego is validated by that, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, because I'm constantly looking for external validation around those places. So it creates this big fucking wall around me. And I got to a point where my ego was so big, I couldn't even accept basic feedback, because that's attacking my IQ.
Yeah.
So you might go, I don't like that color green you're wearing right now. My ego goes, what the fuck do you know?
Yeah.
That's what I wouldn't say that. I probably would say that. But that's what I feel like you're attacking my IQ around this certain area within life. Therefore, I want to go back. So once you can understand where your ego is attached to, you ask the opposite question. So if I hate getting feedback because my ego is attached to smarts and IQ, and when people tell me that, I feel good, what should I do? Constantly ask for feedback.
Yeah.
And that's what, if my ego is this big right now, if I'm constantly asking for feedback, it shrinks down. Because when someone used to give me feedback, I said, bro, I used to not snap, but mentally in my mind, straight away, and then I would look at you straight away, or look at their online profile, and what the fuck do they know?
Yeah.
But that's not me speaking. It's a version of myself that's speaking.
Yeah. It's the chip brain.
Yeah, bro. It's wild. It's wild, bro. So, and once I sort of figured that out, what all my ego was attached to, you got to figure out what the opposite is for that, and then lean into that a lot more. And then over time, your ego starts to go down. Some random guy can go, I don't like your t-shirts, or I don't like your content. And without ego there, I can go, sweet, I can understand his version of life as a human. Cool.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad, that's okay. You don't like it, that's absolutely fine. When you're on this journey, growing, scaling a brand, scaling a personal brand, you're doing those ego checks. Is there any stage where you go, this isn't going to work? Or are you always just on that projectile mission, that undoubted self-confidence that I'm gonna figure out a way to make this happen.
Oh yeah, I think that, but it's like Naval Ravikant talks about this. He's one of my favorite.
I love Naval.
Yeah, he's my favorite. Like in terms of reference points in life, like how I speak in content, how I do those little threads and stuff. Always relate back to him because he has a great way of articulating things very simple that anyone else can understand. And he talks about ego, where like if success is here and you can climb a mountain, but like that's the end point of success, most people just keep going like that. Like even though you can't climb that mountain in that way, the thing to remove your ego, go back down the mountain and climb back up the other way. Like that's what you should do. Yeah. And over time, if you keep rocking up and keep being consistent, that might not be the path for you just yet. And that's happened to me many times within business. And there's a lot of times I've been there, I've just gone, fuck, like This mountain's going back that way. I don't even have the strength to go around there. It's better off going down and finding a new pathway. And same thing, my ego's been attached to business and success. So I've climbed the mountain in a certain way. Things have happened to me. I've keep going there, like, come back down, bro. Release your ego, find a new way.
Yeah, it's like sometimes you need to step back to go forward. Sometimes you can't keep hammering. If you keep hammering, if you keep hammering on the same thing, it doesn't always work, does it?
No.
It does not always work. And I
think like, say there's like a big gap here and you're standing on the edge and you look like an athletic dude. If you jumped across that gap and then I took 2-3 steps back, ran and jumped, I'm going to jump further.
Yeah.
You know? And that's a simple analogy to think about. But at times I'll just start on the edge of a river or on the creek. I'm like, I'll make it.
I'm gonna broad jump this shit. I've
been training.
I've been training. Yeah, legs don't feel too cooked today. Let's have it. I think, from me, I think that's been there's been learning curve after learning curve on this journey for myself, and as I've tried to become a better footballer, grow an online coaching business, and learn a lot of shit along the way, I've come to realise that sometimes you need to step back to step forward, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And
what's keeping you in footy?
This is the thing. I love it. I'm obsessed.
Oh, you love it?
I absolutely love it. I don't know. There's just something about it. There's something about rugby league that I just love the competitiveness.
What do you like? The competitiveness.
I love the competitiveness. I love being around the boys. I think that, and part of it for me, and I've probably never ever said this, is there's something that I have to prove to myself that I can do it.
Yeah.
There's something within me that I've not proven to myself that I can do it, and I want, you know, that saying, that stack of undeniable truth that you are who you say you are.
Yeah.
I want that. I chase that validation to myself, and I've never ever spoke about that to anybody before.
What does that look like to you though? Is it like an amount of games? Is it lifting
I don't know. Well, obviously you love the stuff like lifting a competition and stuff like that. I just want to prove to myself that I am the person that I say I am, and exit on my terms within the rugby league game. At the minute, I feel like I speak a lot about taking risks. I share with a lot of the young players who I coach as an online coach and stuff like that. I say you have to back yourself. But what does that look like for me? And being the second ever Irish player to play in the Super League, I'm literally carving a path that no one's ever walked. No one's ever come to a Super League academy before. No one from Ireland's ever. Well, no one in Ireland plays this game. Never mind gone to Canberra Raiders under 20s, let COVID hit, got sent back home on a plane, washed windows for a living, made their Super League debut that year. No one's ever done any of that. So for me, I think pairing that, stacking the undeniable truth that I am who I say I am, with the fact that I am literally carving a path out for people that does not exist. That does not exist. It's like the Christopher Columbus. You're the first person to do this stuff. I feel like that I have a vocation. It's like a vocation for me. It's like something that I've been given these gifts from up above, and it's weird. It's weird. You asked this question because it's actually got me thinking. I love social media. I love doing what I do, and I like to believe that I'm someone who's able to conduct myself in a way that I can express myself on social media without coming across in a way that's like an arsehole. Do you know what I mean? I feel like as a rugby league player, I can conduct myself well. I like what I do. I share my views passionately, but I feel like I have a neutral head, and I like how I do it. But there's no way that I've been put on this planet with the ability to play rugby. I wouldn't say I'm that good, but I'm good enough to make an impact. I'm from somewhere that's never ever had players playing this sport, and I like putting myself out there in content. I think that's like a trio of something that I can't give up just yet. And I know at some stage I'm going to hang the boots up, and I have no doubt in my mind that I'm going to be in this game I'm playing this game for the long run. Within content, within myself, I know that my business will take off. I have no doubt about any of that. But I can't help but believe that there's a reason that I'm still involved in the game of rugby league, and I have more to do and more to prove to myself, and I have a path to carve out for other people. Because I see so many people go into coaching and they stay involved in the game, and one of the biggest frustrations for me within rugby league is you're tied to a season. You're glued to you're glued to a rugby league season,
my language,
bro. They tell you when you're off. They tell you when you're on. Like, for example, I'm in Australia for a week. I've flown from the other side of the world, and I'm in Australia for 7 days. I leave next Wednesday. I fly from Sydney to Singapore to London, get on the train up to the north of England to Leeds, and I'm training Thursday night for captain's run for Ireland to play against Wales.
Oh, sick.
So that's peak for me. I get to play for my country, but at the same time, I'm tied to the rugby league calendar. The rugby league calendar dictates my life. If you're not available today, if this doesn't work out so well, we don't sit down and film this podcast. It's not like I can come back next week and fly back out to the Gold Coast and do this podcast. It's not. I'm tied to the rugby league calendar. So I have no doubt in my mind that this sport has given me so much, and that when I retire, I can see myself stepping away from being tied to that rugby league calendar. Like people going to coaching and stuff like that. I don't, at this moment in time, at this version of me, I don't see myself wanting to be tied to the rugby league calendar.
Bro, it's big. And even though we're talking about this R360 thing, I'll get people come in and they're like, what about your legacy? You know, and I look at legacy probably a little bit differently. And the conversation you just had then is like, who's the 5 best players that we've had over the past 20 years? Like, what does legacy actually give you within rugby league? It gives you like a job in the commentary. You know?
Yeah.
Jonathan Thurston standing on the sideline with an umbrella in the rain. Like, he's like literally one of our best players ever. And like, there's no shame in that, bro. He's one of the GOATs. But like, if that's legacy and I can have that or $10 to $15 million in money from R360, I know where I'm heading, you know? And when I was younger, 10 years ago, I would have looked at rugby league for a rugby league lens, like everything's about rugby league. But I think just as you get older and you start to remove yourself from certain things, you just see certain things in a different way.
Yeah. And I have no doubt, another 10 years, I'm probably going to look at that in a completely different lens as well. I'll probably...
How old are you, bro?
25.
Oh, it's
25 years old, bro. So I'll probably go and look at that in a different lens. I feel like I've been on a mission to sort of prove myself in that sense. Like, I was at Huddersfield, I debuted in Super League. I only played one Super League game. Ended up in the Championship, been around the Championship for the last 3 years, like 3-4 years playing the Championship, and Bradford have just got promoted, and I feel like I owe myself more to prove myself in that game and to be the person who I say I am. Do you know? Because like I can't. How do I articulate this? I can't say that I'm the person who does those things, and not actually do those things. Do you know what I mean? I can't say that I'm going to turn up for myself every day and say to my clients or players who reach out to me, how do I go about X, and not actually do my best to my ability, because I can't grow 4 inches taller. I can't make myself a 100-meter sprinter, but I can control what I can control. And if I don't do that to the best of my ability till I feel it's the time right to pull the pin, then I'm a liar, haven't I? I'm a liar, and then I can't look in that egotistical mirror and say that I am the person who I say I am, because then I'm just a fraud. And that to me is authenticity. To me is the biggest thing. I want to be the person who I say I am, or at least pursue being that person. Because if I can't throw a 40-meter cutout left to right, that's, you know, I can't throw a 40-meter cutout. It is what it is. Do you know what I mean? If I don't have the best feet, you know, I'm not Suoli or I'm not Reece Walsh, that's okay. Do you know what I mean? But I've gone about my business in a way that I've turned up for myself, and I've done all the shit that would allow me to reach my potential. And then after that, you can go to bed at night and go, thank you. I had a good night's sleep. I did my best.
Yeah. How much money would it take for your business on the side to get to a point where rugby league's holding you back that you'd leave?
That's a great question. Well, me and the boys always sit and have coffee and we do would you rathers. You know, we sit and the boys give me the maddest would you rathers, because they think that my scale, they reckon it's the most stupid thing. They reckon there's no correlation. So they say to me, would you rather never lift a weight again or win a premiership for Canberra Raiders? And they give me all these random would you rathers, and they go, none of this makes sense because you're not correlating. But I always say to them, like, one of my dreams is I'd love to have a film crew. One of my dreams is to make enough money that I can pay a film crew to follow me around. How much
does a film crew cost?
I haven't even looked, but I can't afford one yet. But that's one of my dreams. I'd love to be playing rugby league and have a film crew follow me around all day. But I have so much passion right now for rugby league that no amount of money would make me quit.
Yeah.
That's like, I'd rather stay playing for no money and have my business blowing up and just have the film crew follow me around training. That's my dream, is that I have that enough money within my business to allow me to employ people to do everything that I do except live my life. Do you know what I mean? Just follow me around constantly, around training, and get to do that. Like, I wouldn't care if I'm making no money from rugby if I had my business kicking off and the film crew follow me and I still get to do rugby. I'd be like a journeyman just around the boys, you know. I just get to hang out with rugby league players and not actually play. I just have the film crew follow me around the gym and doing all that. But that's where I'm at the minute. So, like, no amount of money would make me walk away from the game right now, because I feel like I have more to do.
Oh, nice.
But I love, like you do, I love the business side of things. I love social media. I love learning how to market. I love being educated on how I can make my podcast move through the funnel of my business, make my YouTube videos land on a landing page, and how I can educate people through short form and then make them connect with the YouTube and bring them into the ecosystem in the long form, and then hopefully provide enough value that they actually want to work with me as a coach eventually and let me mentor them. I love learning about that. And that's my passion, that's my interest, and that's what fuels me. Alongside I just love to have a film crew follow me around.
Yeah, and probably the next phase for you is like, just go, how much does a film crew actually cost?
Yeah.
And one thing I learned from one of my mentors, bro, he's really successful. He wears his threes. He's like, he goes, all right, cool. If you want a film crew, what does that look like? It might be 3 people. All right, cool. That's the pinnacle. What's the lower version of that? It might be 1 person that you can pay. What's the lower version of that? It might be an intern that follows you around for 1 day. Yeah. You know, so if that's your dream, instead of keeping it as like a dream that's something so far within the distance, let's break down 3 different scenarios they could have. And then once you start to put that sort of stuff out there into the universe, you'll be surprised, bro. There might be some random kid from Bradford who's just started filming that wants to just hang around. Has been a Bradford fan his whole life. And that's how like the universe works, is once you set your intention and you understand who you are, it actually gives you the opportunity to do those things. Like, I do some personal branding stuff I'm working with this guy at the moment. And if I ask you who you are and what you do, what would you say? And he said, I'm a photographer. And then the next part of the conversation, he goes, bro, I'm just getting mad, or like, I'm just getting like photo shoot opportunities. I want to like help be a creative director around ideas. And I was like, bro, what did you just say to me? You're like, I'm a photographer. If you only see yourself as that, what do you think the universe is going to give you? Opportunities to be that.
Yeah.
You know, until you change up the wording on how you speak about yourself. If he goes, I'm X and I'm a creative director for some of the biggest brands, and then you start making content in and around that, you'll be surprised what actually happens. And the opportunities that do come through, they're not always going to be, they're test or they're good, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what that's what the universe is trying to test you. Is like, is this cunt actually, not, God is not going to say cunt, but are they ready for this, you know?
Yeah. Are they ready for the opportunity ahead? You remove that roof that you've set, self-imposed roof, the hypothetical self-imposed roof on yourself. When
you're saying like film crew, but I'm saying, there's a 15-year-old in Bradford who's got a camera.
Yeah.
You know, same thing.
Who'd love to. You're right. And bro, when someone actually steps out and looks at your life in their own lens, it goes, why don't you just do that? It seems so easy, doesn't it?
And the funny thing is, bro, I'm projecting my own ideas onto you, because I'm asking like, why rugby league, where that was just my narrative of football, because I didn't really love it and people used to ask me that question. But like, I can see how passionate you are about it, but I'm also projecting my own stuff onto you. It's like, you know, it's weird.
When you were
just caught myself.
But it's true, bro. It's a question that I need to ask myself, because it is true. You need to ask yourself, and you need to be able to look inwards. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Because like when I come out here and like I said, Chris just said to me, why don't you just move here? And then I have to actually, and I come up with an answer, rugby, I have a contract next year. That's this quick answer. That's the instant response, I have a contract next year. But then I actually do need to ask myself, why don't, like you just did, why don't I just do this? Why don't I just move here, go all in? But
ask yourself the question.
Ask myself the question.
And then it would always roll into the threes, bro. Yeah. So, like, if I move there, like, what am I losing back home? Yeah. Like, you know, just try and figure out 3 different scenarios, and it really breaks things down. So if you think of a ladder, here's your dream, here's where you are right now. The 1, 2, 3 really breaks things down, bro.
What's the next step? When you're doing that yourself, then when you're wrapping up your time in football, obviously you said you fell out of love with it. What was going through your mind?
I used to always say in my mind, and like to my close friends, I'm like, bro, I'm over football. All I want to do is start a business.
Yeah.
And what the universe used to give me is opportunities to start a business. I had a snapped Achilles, ACL, snapped my pec, basically all the big injuries, undisplaced fracture of the fifth metatarsal, 12 weeks out, for like a few other injuries. And when I kept saying in my mind, I'm over football, what do you think the universe is giving me?
Yeah.
An opportunity in those times to learn, to transition while I'm still getting paid.
Yeah.
So I never knew about this until later in life when I got mentors in and around the space. And it was the same conversation I had with the guy the other day. He only sees himself as a photographer. You know, if I was asking for the opportunities to run a business, I was getting them through ACLs and snapped Achilles.
Yeah.
But when you're in football, you're like, oh, fuck, why is this happening to me?
Yeah, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
The black dog's coming. Back into rehab. We go on the ski erg, seated ski erg for 10 years.
And then you learn about yourself during those times as
Yeah.
well. So I think I can articulate myself through words during those times, which was from being in rehab, you know, from being on the bike on my own and sitting through things and thinking through things and realizing like all the boys are on the pitch and you're over here doing this, you know, you learn about yourself during those times.
100%. You're going through that head noise and you're reflecting. It's reflective. It is reflective. And I have no doubt the universe will give me that time when it's time to hang up the boot. And I think it's going to be on my own terms. I think hearing you speak about it, it's nearly like comforting hearing like this conversation with you, hearing you speak about your career and speak about where you're going and the direction that you're going in with business right now. It's comforting hearing that, and like I always say, it's so nice seeing like players put themselves out there now, because my two biggest inspirations when I was a rugby union player, trying to become a rugby union player, and then going to rugby league, were two blokes who went to fitness influencers.
Who's your favourite influencers now?
Probably still them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Probably.
Who are they?
Mike Thurston and Rob Lipsett.
Okay.
I just have it's like a nostalgic feeling of watching them go through the probably 5-10 years older than me, like one's from the UK, one's from Ireland, go through that process, and now one's in Dubai, one's in Marbella, living their life, and I got to over the last 10 years got to watch them do that, and then. Jeez, I can probably see a bit of myself in that journey.
Ollie Martin's good to watch.
He's hectic. He's sick. He's sick. I love. They're like the new age, aren't they? They're like the new age, and I feel like modern day now as well. Like the people who are called influencers, the people who share their lives, they're a lot more disciplined than 10 years ago. Do you know, like he's a freak, Ollie Marchon. Like he trains the gaff down. Do you know, he's a freak. What
does gaff mean?
Like house.
Oh,
trains the house down.
One of my mates is that, and he's not even from over there.
He's trained the gaff down. What do you think of your time over there, honestly?
I love the people. It was sick. It was cool to go to. Like I went from Warriors to Wakefield, and like we were sort of like a bit of a shit kicker side.
Yeah.
But we had a really good run that year, and like everything for me didn't work out. But I really enjoyed hanging around with the boys. And I still say some of those guys I played with like my favourite teammates ever, like Cole Amor was at Wakefield. He made coming to training every single day like the best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
Danny Kerman, I still talk to him now. He still buys our stuff. And like those were the two guys that made you feel at home. And you learn about the English banter and they don't take anything serious. They got a bit of a dark humor to their
yeah, literally.
And you can understand why, because it's like it is a pretty dark and depressing place, and when all you got to do is drink and talk shit, like
you have to get witty.
Yeah, you have to get witty. And I was lucky because I was always a little bit witty and always enjoyed the tongue in cheek. So I got along with those boys real well. Probably the only thing I didn't understand at the time was I got signed over there for 3 years. Probably after about half a year, could see it wasn't like the coach wasn't really working out. Yeah. Like me and Timmy Smith were playing together. He was very ball dominant half. So for me, I couldn't really figure out what 6 looked like and felt like, because I'd never really played 6 before. I'd always played 7 growing up. Like even when I was playing at the Warriors, bro, first grade NRL, I was better at the 7 position than I was at the 6. And I couldn't figure out how to influence the game in a positive way with less touches.
Yeah.
And fair enough, bro, Richie Agar got like rid of me during that time. But at the time, I couldn't comprehend it. And I just didn't like how he got things done. And like he had a very direct conversation style where I was used to getting coached by Ivan, where he'd let you think. He's very thoughtful, where Richard was just like, he would like punch you in the throat. And I was over there, bro. I was like 21 at the time, and I was just sitting in his office. And he's like, "You'll never play first grade for me again. Like, I'd rather put these guys in front of you." And he was naming like back rowers and all that. And I just like, I didn't know how to understand, like, take it. And all he was doing at the time was trying to spake me out of the club, and because I had 3 years left to run, so I think he was just trying to make my time really hard, just so when I'd leave on my own terms, which would save the club money because they didn't have any money anyways.
Yeah.
And if I knew that at the time, I just would have accepted it as business. But I remember when him saying that to me, all I did was train harder, and like me and Richie Mathers would go to Total Fitness every morning, would run like 30 minutes on the treadmill or do stuff. And we're always doing a lot more than what we did. And I'd stay off the piss. And I actually got really fit during that time. And then by the time I come back to NRL, when Ivan gave me another chance at Penrith, like I was the fittest I'd ever been. I was the strongest I'd ever been. I hadn't been drinking. And I come back and I played maybe 3 games or 4 games in reserve grade. Probably 5 games in reserve grade. And then when I went to my first grade debut for Penrith, we played Melbourne and we were paying $11 and we beat them. And then the next week after that, we played the Warriors, and I scored like a hat trick against the Warriors, and I got re-signed for another 3 years straight after that. So it was a cool thing to go through, and it was one of the great lessons I learned in life that transferred over to business. Is like, even though someone doesn't believe in you, if you believe in yourself, plus do the work, good things are going to happen. And then same thing happened with Penrith, got a little bit too comfortable. Partying was kind of like the thing that I used to do. And during that partying time, I met Chico and Normie, and if I hadn't met them, I probably wouldn't have started YKTR. You know, everything sort of flows and ebbs and flows into life for a certain reason. And if I hadn't met those guys, definitely wouldn't have started YKTR, because that was just the saying that we used to say. Hey, and it's hard when you're young, bro, because when you've got a coach that's signed you for 3 years and you come over and within like 6 months he's spraying you.
Bro, you're riding the wave. You're riding the wave, but it's invisible strings in it. You don't meet them. You don't set the brand. We're not sat here today, bro. There's a few bits of like that really touched me there. Firstly, obviously Danny Kerman. Me and him played together at York. And when I started my online coaching business, like obviously the boys were bantering me and that, but he pulled me to the side, and he came on the podcast as well. But he backed me. He said he's mentioned you. And he literally said, I played with him. He was the same. Like the boys were bantering him and that, and look at him now. And so he just then it was back to the crack. You know what I mean? That was one of the wisest things he ever said to me. But it's that mutual respect, isn't it? Like that he had for you, and obviously he still buys your clothes now. That leads you into like the invisible strings, bro. I believe that was meant to happen for a reason, for you to walk the path that you did. There's no way that you don't leave Wakey, you don't get picked up back by Ivan, you don't go to Penrith, you don't start partying, you don't meet the lads, you don't start the brand. That all happens for a reason. Some things are just meant to happen for a reason. Do you know what I mean? And I believe that things sometimes just work out. People are meant to meet, things are meant to happen for a reason. And if you don't go through that, you're not the person who's ready to start the brand, are you? If you haven't been through that adversity, and you haven't rode that roller coaster of rugby league, and you haven't been playing shit, getting released from Wakey, playing good at Penrith, scoring hat tricks, and then all the in between, you're not ready to go through what you go through. What made you, like, obviously you said, you always used to say that you were partying together. What was the spark that goes, we're going to do it?
I don't know. Like I was always keen to just do different things, bro. And I was really big into business. And the reason why, like, we just started making videos, but this kind of rolls back to Wakey. You can ask Kerma about this. Like at the start of the year, you know when you get put into teams of 3 and you have to make a video. Yeah. So I got put captain of my team, and we made a video, just taking the piss out of all the boys, and everyone had to do it, and the loser had to do a dance over in France, and like bro, my video pumped everyone else's video. So Cole Amor was the main character, and he was taking the piss out of our trainer, and his name was Clogger. And like Clogger was like this fucking classic Yorkshire like lad, like just tough. He either loved you or hated you. And Cole just knew how to do his impersonation that quick. So we built our whole video based around him, and it was like magic. But just even like we got in trouble in France one time for getting on the piss, and Agar was spraying us, and we took the piss out of that, because this was like a day later too, so it was kind of a little bit controversial. But when I put that video together, they're like, fuck, I don't know why, like the boys would say, I don't even know why you're playing football, you should be making content.
Yeah.
So an example of this, bro, like Agar walks into the bar and there's about 5 of us there, bro, and he like fucking spray. He goes, "You fucking selfish cunts," blah blah blah. So we reenacted that, bro, but we didn't want to spray Agar because he was our coach. So we done it like I was standing up on a chair pretending to be like a security camera. Because I remember playing Metal Gear Solid when I was a kid. I was like, oh, that looked always cool. So instead of just filming basic stuff, I feel like I had a little bit of a nous in terms of creativity to not get us in trouble, but reenact it. So I had a fake security camera right here. One of the boys walked in pretending to spray all the boys, and it was kind of moving like nice and slow like that. And then I'd make the camera black and white and then have the recording sign underneath as well.
Yeah.
So when we done it, bro, it ended up like killing it, and the boys like, fuck, can we watch it again? And the funny part of and even like having like outtakes at the end of the credits, like just implementing simple stuff like that where I thought it was obvious and the boys were like, no, we haven't done that. But kind of to wrap up the whole vlog, it wasn't even called vlogs at the time, but the video at the time, we used to have to do this piss test every single day to check your hydration. And Kyle, he was like, he was pretending to be Clogger, who was our trainer, and kind of the intake was like the boys had gone for a piss and the trainer would drink it. Bro, and even Clogger, like, he's a man, bro, and he was even cracking up. He's like, fuck. And bro, it was, I don't know. So stuff like that, when you ask me those questions about Kermo and Wakefield, I kind of forget about those things, but I knew that I could make a video, and then the first video we made was following Chico around. And Chico just become Dalian Hooker of the Year, you know? So I knew people wanted to see behind the scenes, started filming him, then Corey started to take off with him football, and I was leaving football, so I was just kind of like, I just want to do some different things that no one else is doing, you know? And this was like 10 years ago now.
Yeah, bro, that's like, I was going to say, early adapters of modern day stuff that people seem so obvious now. If you said to someone, like if you waved a crystal ball 10 years ago, that's what everyone would be doing, and everyone would be trying to do it, or at least starting to do it now, and that's 2025. Do you know?
And I wish I stayed consistent on at least one of the platforms. So like when I stayed vlogging, like let's just say if I dropped one vlog every single week, you know, like I'm in a lot different spot than I am right now. If I stayed podcasting, I was one of the first, like within my first month, I was one of the biggest podcasters in Australia. I was just interviewing business people, and I'd get between like 100 to 200k listeners in my first like couple months, and I didn't know what I had, you know. But if I just stayed in that space instead of like trying to start YKTR Sports and bring all my friends in and try and build it out of that, if I just stayed in my own lane, I could have been a lot bigger. But then I probably would have been. I don't reckon I would have liked the person I would have become if I got success that easy. Yeah,
100%. And you have to go through the adversity and the fuck ups to realize, don't you? You have to realize this, and you have to, like, bro. Again, I remember my early videos. I was talking on a watt bike, fucking doing like stupid impersonations, and I cringed so hard at myself. I'm so glad it didn't blow up. Yeah, because I would have been fucking that bloke who makes watt bike videos, sat on a watt bike on a day off, on a recovery day, with a mic on, just talking shit on a watt bike, and I'm so glad that didn't blow up. But you need to do that and it not kick for you to become the person you are.
Yeah, and that's a big one now where, like, say back in the day you could make content about anything and you had an opportunity to blow up. And when I work with people now, I was like, you want to make content as a person of influence, not an influencer.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who try to start building personal brands, they'll just like start documenting their day, and it'll kind of just follow them throughout the day. Where that style of content used to kill it, like 10 years ago, you know, the Casey Neistats, like all that sort of stuff really killed it. But because social media is a matured platform now, it's educated, you can't be about everything for everyone. So if your personal brand is like, I'm a football player who helps people build their dream body, you know, that's very niche. And once you become niche, you can go deep on that, but you need to be known for that. And my analogy for this is, you can tell if it's a good restaurant if it's got a one-page menu. Yeah. You know, if you're going to like TGI Fridays, you know, like if the menu is like
a book,
they can't cook that many things that well. But if you go to a good restaurant that's got 3 things that they do, you know the food's going to be fire. You know?
Exactly. There's the burger spot in Dublin, bro. Whenever you're in Dublin, the menu's on a little thing like that. Just do burgers. Unbelievable, bro. Whenever you're in Dublin or we're in Dublin together, I'll have to take you.
Where's what is Irish food? It's similar to English food.
Guinness.
Guinness is not as good here, eh?
Because it doesn't travel well.
Everyone says that.
It's best at home. But there's not really a traditional Irish food, like beef stew, and like maybe people who are a bit stereotypical might say potatoes, but that, like, it's not got like a traditional, you know what I mean? It's not got like a traditional food.
They built a place in Sydney, I think it's called Patio something.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and it's like chips and curry.
Yeah, Bro, that's the Irish food. Maybe
chips and Chinese.
The spice bag. Spice
bag. That's what it is.
That would be considered like that's a big thing in Dublin, from the Chinese restaurants. But it's the furthest thing from Chinese food. It's salted chili chicken with chips and a bit of veg and tons of MSG. It is unbelievable when you've had a few beers. When you're on the way home, you grab a spice bag. Life change your life, but it's not. I wouldn't call that Irish. It's Irish Chinese.
So, what'd you come to Aussie for? Just for?
Well, yeah, but this trip as such, when I lived here in Canberra, I lived in Canberra 5.5 years ago. Loved the place. Was meant to do the whole year. COVID
you loved
hit.
Canberra?
I loved it.
Yuck.
Bro. That's what everyone says. Yeah. So I loved Canberra. I was meant to do the whole year there and then go back to Huddersfield to play Super League, and COVID hit, so I had to come home. I had to go back to Ireland. I was at a bit of a crossroads. It was normal here at first, and it was in the UK and in Ireland and all over Europe. It was like everything was shutting down. So I get the phone call then, the mother's going mad, and I was like, they're saying it's grand, like, they're saying nobody needs to come home. 2 weeks later, the knock comes on the door, Ronan, like, we're not going to be able to get you a flight home if you don't leave now. So I sort of got shown the door a little bit. I was an under-20s player. Like, they were like, you're not going to get paid pretty much. You can stay, but I couldn't work. My visa was only for sport. So I got to the crossroads and I ended up back over home. And I hadn't been to Australia in 5.5 years. And all my best mates in England are Aussie. So like Chris, me and Chris played at Huddersfield together. Chris is one of my best mates. All my mates are Aussie. Like I really get on. Very similar to Irish. We're all away from home, which helps. So when you're away from home, I have no missus, no kids, no family. They're on the other side of the world. Usually, maybe a missus, but no kids, no family. They don't have as much responsibilities. So we end up naturally hanging out. They like coffee. I fucking love coffee. I'm smacking coffees all the time. You know what I mean?
English coffee sucks.
No, but bro, I got the bean watering holes. I'll find you a good one, bro. I'll find you the good ones, bro. I have a way of sniffing out. Not quite like here, but so naturally then all my mates are over here, either like retired, like Crispy's retired, or they're over here for the off season. And I've been dying for 5.5 years to come back. The only places I were Gold Coast and Canberra. So I came up here for a weekend and fell in love with the place. So I've been dying to come back anyways, and I thought like I'd want to take the podcast and meet people over here, because like a lot of ex-players or current players are over here living. A lot of my ex-teammates who I'm still good mates with, haven't seen them in 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I just wanted to catch up with everyone, and it sort of made sense, didn't it? Make it a bit of a trip, do a few podcasts, live the good life. Like I'll be going around Gold Coast tonight, enjoying myself. You know what I mean?
Where are you gonna go, Pav?
Oh yeah, I'll have a look. Yeah. All right? It'd be rude not to have a look. It's famous. You know what I mean? Then you're ex.
Yeah,
I have to have a look at Pav.
For sure.
So that was. I thought I'd take it here and. How good, bro. I'll come away from this, bro. Grateful to have met you and caught up for the first time, bro. Again, like you could have easily said, no, who are you? Random bloke from Ireland hitting me up. And
it's funny, random. Like I was like, I'm just going to start doing some podcasting again. And like, you literally messaged like not long after, man.
That's it. Mate, invisible strings, brother.
That's it.
A week earlier, a week later, it may not have happened.
For sure.
Isaac John, that was a serious message. Thank you for coming on, my man.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
What a time, bro. What a time.